Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Rebecca, the creator behind EY Becca, and I take pre-loved fabric and I turn them into one-of-a-kind pieces and sustainable as well. That is a big factor here. So I turn them into vanity buckets, makeup bags, tote bags, and a variety of other items as well. But today, I figured it was finally time to do a tutorial. I don't know if you sew, but if you are here and you wanted to learn something new or make something new, then here is the time. We will be making one of the best sellers at my markets. It is the vanity bucket. You can actually fit quite a lot of stuff in it, and I love the fact that, one, I just roll them down to show like the different lining fabric, but having them rolled up, like, they're a decent size, they're really adorable. Plus, I've made them in so many different colors with different linings. I've also made them previously with towel lining too, which also is adorable. So we have a variety of different options. Let's get to the tutorial. What you will need is fusible fleece. I do use medium to heavyweight fusible fleece. You could use batting or foam as well. You'll need your lining fabric, 2 pieces, and 2 pieces of your outer fabric. They will both measure the exact same. You will need to cut it 11 by an 11-inch squares. Then I have gone ahead and cut out 2 out of 4 of the corners on both pieces. So as you can see, they are wrong sides together. And I've cut out 2.5 by 2.5-inch squares on both sides. And I've done the exact same thing with the lining fabric as well. For the fusible fleece, I've done the exact same thing. I've cut them to 11 by 11-inch squares. And I've cut 2 pieces. And I've cut 2 out of 4 of the corners to 2.5 by 2.5. I'm going to go ahead and give these 2 pieces a good press, making sure there are no lines before we fuse the fleece to the outer fabric. We're going to put the fleece onto our outer fabric. Now I just need to trim off any of that little excess fleece, and then at this point we can start moving over to the sewing machine. If you are planning to add your own label, this is the point that I always add it. I like to find the exact center, so I'll fold it in half. You get your little crease line. And I like to do it at least about in approximately almost 2 inches down. Well, you can place it wherever you want, but this is so it'll be centered in the front. because you have your side piece and then it would be in the front here. If you have any pins, you can go ahead and pin it down. While we're here, I am going to put both of the linings. We'll take both lining pieces and put them right side together. And I will go ahead and pin this. I have gone and pinned the lining as well as the outer fabric, making sure to pin them right sides together. We are going to do the same for both the outer and the lining. We are going to stitch, making sure to back stitch at the beginning, and we're going to stitch all the way down, making sure to back stitch again here. Then we will continue doing the same across here as well as going all the way up. And we will do the exact same thing on the outer fabric as well. So let's bring this over to the sewing machine. Now we have reached the point where we can box out the corners. All you have to do is pretty much put your fingers on both little corner divots here, and you just pull it out, and you try your best to make sure to match up those two seams. You might have to fiddle around a little bit with it, but once you've done that, we're going to simply just pin it. You can pin it as many pins as you need. Sometimes I do 3. There have been times where I've done 4, and that is a-okay. We are going to flip it around and do the exact same thing for the other piece of the outer fabric. And we will do the exact same thing for the lining. And now we will just do a simple straight stitch across, making sure to back stitch at both the beginning and the end for each side for both of them. This is the point where I go and double check to make sure everything looks good and that there's nothing, no holes, nothing you can't poke your finger through, no seams are showing, everything looks good on the outer. Just double check the lining. It looks good. At this point, we are almost done. We're going to have our outer fabric, making sure it is right sides out. And we are going to put this guy into our lining. We haven't turned this right side out. We're gonna put right sides to right sides. So pretty much pretty side to pretty side. So I'll shove this guy in. And I do make sure to line up the corners as I do this, and so it's kind of fully pushed in. See, it fits absolutely perfect. And at this point, we will go and pin the seams for the lining to the outer fabric. We're gonna make sure those match up nicely. At this point, you'll start using your pins or your clips. I go over to the other side and do the exact same thing, making sure it is lined up quite nicely. And to add less bulk, I do go and pull these apart, or flatten them rather, so it will be less bulk for your sewing machine. And at this point, you can go around and pin the rest. We will leave about a 4-inch gap at the top so we can turn this right side out at the end. I like to use 2 of the same colored pins so I know when to stop. We will go over to the sewing machine so we can finish this up. There are only 2 steps left and it will be all finished. So this is where we're going to turn it right sides out. So I will stitch all the way around, making sure to backstitch at the beginning and the end, and this will be our little opening. If you find it easier, put a little X so that way you know where to kind of stop. Now that that is all stitched along the top rim, we can go and pull it right side out, or pretty side out rather, whichever you want to call it. And this is when you can finally start to see your final project come together, and that is always the most exciting part, especially about sewing, because in the beginning stages you become frustrated, stuff can happen, and that's okay. But this is the final part where you finally become truly excited. So At this point, we have still our little gap that needs to be sewn, and I also love to add a little top stitch all the way around, just so the lining stays in it much better. So at this point, I go and fold the lining down, making sure that it lines up quite nicely as you work your way around. So I'll start at one of the corners, or one of the where the seams match, and then I'll flip over to the other side, the same as what we did earlier. And I will slowly start to make my way around the bucket. And you will notice I sometimes, for this final step, like to use a decent amount of clips. And once you get to your opening, you will slightly fold down both the lining and the outer fabric. Sometimes I find it's easier to do this on the table. And once you have that all nice and flat and even, you will add your pins or clips. And we can take this to the sewing machine and do the final stitch, making sure to backstitch at both the beginning and the end. And then we will be all finished. And all that's left is to cut the loose threads. And once you do that, your vanity bucket is all finished. She is the absolute perfect size. And not to mention, you can turn it down as much or as little as you want. Especially if you have a couple shorter, like, products or whatever you choose to put in it. You can also make these much bigger or much smaller. It just depends on the size that you would like, but isn't she adorable? Perfect for any smaller items or whatever. I cannot wait to see the ones that you guys will be making. Definitely tag me in them because I would love to see them. And if you enjoyed today's tutorial, let me know because I will happily do some more. It is definitely the first time I've done a tutorial, so I apologize if it's not the absolute best. We are in the learning process here, so that is a-okay. I will see you in the next vlog. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and you should definitely check out my Instagram if you haven't. It is linked in the description below, so definitely check that out. And if you haven't checked out my Etsy page, you should definitely go and take a little gander over there, especially if you don't know how to sew and you would love one of your own vanity buckets or just other sewn items as well. I do try to post all my sewn items on there, but yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye!